I've tanked every one of the 4 leveling dungeons in Dragonflight, and today would like to offer my casual and beginner tanks recently joining or returning to WoW my spoiler-free thoughts on the Nokud Offensive Dungeon, key pointers and what to look out for. If you like this content and want more of it, please give me a like and subscribe for more. I release new videos every week these days. The Nokud Offensive is a rather unique dungeon with a few critical tips that a tank needs to know when it comes to the last boss particularly, so stick around till the end of the walkthrough for sure. The dungeon story is based on the second leveling zone of the Dragon Isles, or Naran Plains, and is related to a certain civil war conflict going on between the Centaur factions. The dungeon is interesting in a way that it looks like the whole zone, and you will need to use your dragon riding mounts to cover large distances. If you have unlocked dragon riding talents that allow you to gain speed and then land, damaging and stunning enemies around you, that would help too. Obviously, you don't need to do any of that, or to fly around for that matter, but why wouldn't you if it makes things much quicker and easier by design? Not pretending to be an expert in this or any other dungeon in the game, I suggest that as a tank, you open your map and loosely follow the clockwise circle through the bosses from first to last. Each boss, other than the last one, has a rather similar mechanic where you first need to destroy a few objectives that surround the boss, and then the boss fight starts. The first boss involves you avoiding the roaming patrol, if you can, and destroying the ballistas that are taken by the enemy. They are marked by the yellow markers on your minimap, so look out for those. So move smoothly between those ballistas, kill the mobs, and try and not to pull the patrol. Once all ballistas are cleared, the dragon lands and you kill it, basically. I don't believe that this particular group of mine made any use of those ballista launches in the fight with the boss, but clearly that's what's intended to happen, and they are definitely clickable/interactive, so I assume this is the mechanic that you will need to engage in if you struggle to simply overpower the boss with the native DPS of your group or in Mythic Plus dungeons. Second boss is similar in design, where you need to clear tempests protecting some totems, and once those totems are destroyed, you engage with the boss. The boss fight itself was rather easy, at least in this experience of mine, and rather boring. Just don't overlap the electric circles on the ground and you should be fine, as I assume that if you just stand on top of each other when the explosions go off, it will not be pretty. Third boss is exactly the same yet again, with a tiny twist that doesn't change the mechanic, I suppose, of the boss encounter, just makes it a little less yawn, story-wise, I guess. Final boss is somewhat different, and the key difference is that when you fly towards it, you get shot from the sky and can't use your flying mounts anymore. This is the main and probably only part for you to pay particular attention to as a tank, even on a normal dungeon difficulty. Yes, you will need to be very careful about pulling those Nokud Defender, big centaur guards that are standing in pairs on your way on this little track, kind of trail, leading up to the boss. Do not think that you're awesome and that all of that, and just run past the first pair to pull more, like I initially tried on my Demon Hunter tank. It's a big mistake, as turns out that they do insane amount of crowd control by mostly fearing and stunning the group on a very, very short cooldown. So when you pull 4 guards, right, and they all start fearing you on that short cooldown at what feels like every 2 seconds, you will absolutely know what I mean, my friend. So basically, pull in small groups and interrupt fear cast when you can. With that in mind, you clear to the boss, and first you pull his 2 kids, lieutenants, who cares, Balara and Batak. As a tank, you probably would have to focus on Batak first, because he can be directly tanked, he focuses on you, and you focus again on interrupting his fear. And then you finish off Balara. The boss himself, the final boss, Balakar Khan, was actually quite easy and again rather boring, I suppose, but I guess he's not doing that much damage on a normal difficulty, and certainly much easier and not threatening compared to any of the trash leading up to him. So all in all, if you understand the pathing and kind of geometry of the dungeon that I've just explained to you, and if you're particularly careful about pulling the trash, the final packs of trash leading up to the final boss, you should be fine with this dungeon. But if you ignore the warnings about these final fearing mobs, you will have a bad day. I hope you enjoyed this little guide, and I hope it helps you take your beginner tanking to the next level. Like the video so that I know that I'm doing something right and that you've enjoyed it, and subscribe for more. Talk to you next time.